Hello, and welcome to the 40 to 400 podcast by Jamie Daire. Today's music will be provided by Orphe and Son, which you can find on Spotify and any other major streaming platforms. Today is episode number 10, which is July 18th, 2022. And I am your host, Jamie Daire. Bam. What's up, friends? It's Jamie. Today we are going to be talking about a couple of updates because I haven't done one of these in about 3 months. I became a dad again, second time over, and I had to learn a bunch of songs and it's been grinding, and I'll get to all that. But how we're going to do today is I've had some people ask me some questions, and they asked, that I told them I'd do it on the podcast. So let's dive right into the first question of the day: a five string versus a four string bass. Okay. Well, my answer for that question is five string. The four string is really great. Uh, that's what I played on for many years while I was just playing it as a hobby. But I really, 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 really love playing my five string because it has a lot more dynamic and a lot more tonality that you gain from the low B string. It gives you five more notes. Uh, your B, C, D, E, F um, is not right. It's B, C, D, and then you have your flats and your sharps in between. Um, so it's just really awesome. I enjoy it. Country music, it has changed a lot, and a lot of country music plays five string, and that's what I play these days. So that leads me to my next question, which is why country music? Why did I choose country music? Well, I played, several different styles, played different types, and country music seemed probably like the last one that I'd ever play. Honestly, um, it just I don't know. Just maybe it seemed like too much work or what it was, but I just had no desire to do it for years. But I was listening to a buddy of mine at one night, and we were talking to each other about music because we used to play in bands together, and he's like, "Man, you really need to check out country music. Like this guy, Brantley Gilbert, he's got this song called 'Kick It in the Sticks,' and I think you'd like it." So we listened to it, and I was like, "Wow, that's really a heavy country song," which is very different, especially at that time. And I thought that it was just like it really took me by surprise. I felt that it was just I don't know, it was cool country, I guess, kind of in a way, cooler country. And I learned to play it on the guitar, and uh, I learned to sing it, and then which was fun because it had rasp on the vocals, which I'd never thought I would have ever got to do doing country. So when I learned that song, I was like, man, I gotta try it. So I called a couple of my buddies and I asked them if they wanted to start a country band, and they kind of laughed at me, and I told them how serious I was, and next thing I know, we were all getting together and we were practicing country songs, and it was definitely a lot different than what I was used to, especially at the time. Um, but country music, it just hits me differently. It brings people together a lot. It's not for everyone, but it's for me. My next question for today is my current amp. All right. Well, my current amp is actually a TC Electronic BH250 that I play out of a Mark Bass 210 Club Series and a Mark Bass 115, the Club Series as well. That is not their model number. That I cannot remember off the top of my head. But that that rig just sounds so clean and so good. By far the best amp I've ever owned. And I I can't believe the tone that you get from that setup. Eventually here I am going to do a rig rundown on the bass rig. I'll do a review and show you guys the different parts of what makes it do what it does and what I like about it, what I don't like about it, those kind of things. But the question is my current amp. Well, that's a funny story. My current amp is actually a Line 6 Bass Pod XLT Pro. We plug it directly into the main PA system now, and I use that because it's got a lot of different tones and it just sounds great. It's got a built-in DI. It's got a 1/4-inch jack, which makes practice easy because like my TC electronic head, it has a 1/8-inch jack, but you have to turn the volume all the way up to get the music, over halfway to get the music loud enough that you're playing through the auxiliary to hear it. And then you go to play your bass and it's the very minimal volume and it's just already getting to be too loud. Because half throttle on one of those at a live gig outside is punchy and loud, and it's happening, and it's there making its beautiful face known. But the bass pedal, it just has that tone, and it's simple. You just plug it in and you play it. No need to bring amp. So that's the way of the future. Done it a couple shows now. These last 2 shows I played over this weekend, I actually just plugged my bass direct. Because I didn't have my pedal with me, and it was nice. So I think I'll transition from that to DI. I hear the Sam's Amp DI, Tech 21 DI or whatever it's called, is supposedly the best one that you can get for a bass. I've heard that the Behringer V something or other bass DI, it's like $40, but they say it's cloned but with a plastic case. If I ever get those, obviously I'll do a video, showing you guys that. And that is my plan here. When fall time hits, I'll have more time because I won't be outside as much and playing as much. But for now, my Line 6 pedal, it's going to do a great job. And I definitely am going to do a video about that and show you guys the different tones, because one big change, I didn't say this the last time I recorded this, I got a Behringer Air 18 XR18. I think I did a podcast already on this series where I already have one. Now I have 2. This one here is for Cosawago Studio. This is the Cosawago Studio Brain. It is going to be used for our recording and stuff, so that way I don't have to dig my other one out of the roadie case. I can just use this. Simple. And because I'm doing that, I'm changing my setup on my podcast again. Right now I'm using my Yeti. I'm going to go back to using a different microphone, probably my SM58. So be on the lookout for that, because I am going to be doing those, and I'm going to be doing play-alongs or whatever you want to call it. I don't think I'll be doing any tutorials. Who knows? That requires a lot more effort, but I am going to definitely be doing covers, and I'm super excited to be able to share that content with you guys here very soon. I think this should be my next question, which is asked for me by a good buddy of mine: finger versus pick. So I use my fingers. That's all I use anymore. When I played rock music, played heavy metal music, I always used the pick because I always thought you had to. I didn't slap bass at all, so I didn't worry about any of that. I was just playing a lot of chugs and jiggada jiggada doom 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 jiggada jiggadas and jiggadas and don digga dance and whatever else you want to call them. I know it's hard to explain to people just listening. But so the pick, it actually was very beneficial playing a lot of that style because it made your strings really strike and really a lot more punchy for certain strikes with it. I used a 1 millimeter. Um, I might have actually I do. I just got one here not too long ago. Dunlop. It looks like it's a 1 millimeter Dunlop, the black ones. I use that when I play heavy metal or rock music, which I barely do anymore. But that doesn't mean I'm not, because I might actually get back to recording this fall, and I'm planning on going and recording my old band with doing some of that, and I'm also going to be recording some of my songs, my personal ones, and I'm going to be working on writing some new songs. So I say pick. Yes, it's great for what it is, but country music, I'm enjoying just using my fingers because it's more about just keeping a solid groove, and I feel like I can get more grooves out of my hands because you're like boom tapping and stuff while you're playing, and everywhere you move your hands on it, on the guitar, on the fretboard, that changes the positioning of everything, and it changes how you hold it. It changes everything. Playing rock music, I kept my bass guitar down. I hung it down by my belt line. Now I play it with a lot higher. Pretty similar to where I practice my guitar when I'm sitting down. That's generally where they recommend to keep it for when you're playing live, because then you're so comfortable where you're at. So yeah, I choose my fingers for those reasons. The next question is frets versus a fretless bass guitar. Well, I think that's also a great question because I have both, but they're different. I have the Stingray 5 Music Man, which is an electric bass, as you guys have heard me talk about here before. That is fretted, and then was it Dragonfly 5 that Michael, was that Michael Ray? Michael Kelly, my apologies. Dragonfly 5. That thing is so much fun to play. It's an acoustic and it's fretless, and we've discussed it on this podcast, that for sure. And it's fun to play. What I'm playing, I think frets are a lot easier. They're a lot more. Let me see here. When you're playing on a fretless, you have to hold yourself very accountable when you're playing, because if your finger is slid up too much or too less, you're not going to be able to get the right tone at times, even if you feel like you're spot on, because you might, when they recorded the song, it might have been in a different area. So you get this really kind of sound when you play a fretless. Plus, when you're slapping the board and stuff, it just has this really cool smack tone, like an old fretless bass. But with what I'm playing now, I definitely prefer frets. I think it would be fun maybe it's something that I would have to try. Another electric fretless. I had one when I first started playing. I had a Araya, whatever it is, Araya Pro 2 fretless bass, 4-string. And I didn't know anything about guitars, especially the bass guitar. I was very naive to it all. So it was not doing me justice at the time. Now, many years later and more experienced, if you will, self-proclaimed, I would probably enjoy it and try different things, but frets for me all the way. A couple things I want to talk about before we wrap today's podcast up is that I'm really excited about getting this interface hooked up for you guys to be able to do that. I'm really excited to be able to talk to you guys about my shows and how they're going. I'm really excited to talk about things I'm working on, things I'm learning, which I guess right now, Can't You See, Marshall Tucker Band, we've been playing the song for a long time, but as you know, that doesn't ever mean you're playing it right. I, I try to play it, and then when I get to the verse, I always just go to whole notes instead of trying to chug or do the but up, but up, but up, because it's very hard to sing and play. But because I'm my own worst critic and my biggest cheerleader, that's what I'm going to be, finishing working on this week. So when we play this weekend, I can get out there and know I'm ready to do it. Some changes that we're making as a band is we're going ampless starting this weekend. So it's going to be very, very exciting. It's going to be very rewarding to have that stage being tame and everybody on the same page with that. And what else is a big change for that? Since the last time we talked, I did learn how to set up my bass guitar, my action, my intonation, and all that. So I'm gonna do my guitar. I played many shows, at least half a dozen on this set of strings. So maybe whenever I go to change the strings, I'll jump on here and we'll do a video on that. Of how I'm doing it, and you guys can see me learning to do it along the way. I've had some great teachers and suggestions along the way. My buddy Donch, my buddy Jerry, and Lucian. They gave me a lot of good tips for how to set up my guitar. So did the internet. So it's really nice playing a song on my low B up towards like the 13th fret and know that it's not out anymore because I actually learned how to set the action and intonation correctly. So be on the lookout for some of them. Today's the 18th. It's a Monday. I'm not sure if I'm going to try and put them out every week, or because I don't want to say next week look out for it on Monday, but that doesn't mean that it can't. I'm just trying to get back into to sharing my thoughts and my feelings and my progress with you guys. So again, I really want to say thanks to Orphean Sun Studio and Orphean Sun the band for letting me, use your music on the podcast today. And I'm sure it'll be on some of the next ones. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all you've done to inspire me along the way. I hope you find your inspiration, and we'll see you next time. Deuces.